started. Crowd didn't need me at all for that call.
And we talked about it already, just touched on it briefly, but you know you're going to see a few misses on both sides because that is the aim of the game, get pressure on the other side.
Outside, shut down at Darlan and Flavio.
Darlan already establishing that dominance in defense. I think we might have had a call here for a net. I'm not sure he thinks that's the case. Will we get another look at it?
Flavio. Come on, Flavio, because it was a heavy roof by Darlan.
Yeah, Darlan was all over that. He deserved that point.
And I think the question from Flavio was, wasn't it down before I hit the net? No. Alonso serve. Bergman handles first ball. Darlan comes back and does it again.
Darlan was the top scorer in the last match with 16 points, and I feel you're going to see him get better and better as you go, because watch how physical he is. Look at his height over the antenna. I mean, he's hitting at a point where a lot of mere mortals cannot even touch. So that combined with those muscles, he's putting all that power into wherever he swings.
Standing at 2 meters, this is Flavio, 33 years old. To the line, it's up, quick look by Bergman.
Tondico with the old, I'm gonna take it, no I'm not, that one's out. Bergman is another player who I thought warmed up a little bit as the match went on, so he's off the net there, he has to tip. Kiss it, nah, nice try.
The crowd takes credit for every missed serve, by the way, by the opponent.
Absolutely. The energy they're sending down on the court, that's surely got to come from something.
The anticipation building, Darlan behind the service line, he can rip it. Thrilled by the speed. Heat. 127 kilometers an hour, but unable to seal the net is Brazil.
That's a couple of times some points have been stolen from Darlan there. He's done exactly what he needs to do, puts full pressure, but that ball going just between the height differential between blocker and setter on Brazil's side.
Outside, Bergman. Pretty set for the D-ball. Court player on the right side. Comes again, Darlan, shut down! Big block for Cuba.
Cuba are playing clean right now, and this is one of the things we talked about. They've missed a couple of service errors, but in terms of their actual volleyball on court, that's a disciplined tip to make the libero move, and then look at those arms finishing, pressing into the court. Beautiful by Concepcion.
Lopez down the line. Establishing the middle quickly, wonderful up from Masso. Ball's no good, a point for Brazil, and here's our first challenge of the day.
I'm already impressed by that up by Masso in the first place. Again, we talk about a middle blocker turned opposite. Defense is not going to be his specialty, but somehow he gets that going. There's a conversion, his team can go again, and if there is a touch on this block, Cuba, again, are just looking really clean.
I can see one in real time. Hard to keep your eye on it in real time. It's so quick.
Yeah, sometimes you just have a feeling about it, and sometimes players are a little too quick to ask for it because their instinct is to try and convince the referee, but sometimes the byproduct of that is to influence your coach who might waste a challenge on it.
Yeah, and that has to be mitigated in a situation like this, especially this early in the set, just 4-4 set one. Super close.
I think I see it.
And the official agrees with you. Unsuccessful challenge, one challenge remaining for Cuba in this set. Lucas Bergman behind the service line. Uh-oh. Great challenge by Tondique. And then setting this up. Trying to slice. Goes wide.
Just wide from Jan, but again, He's trying to find ways around the block. He had the right idea originally to go down the line. He's got that smaller setter in front of him. He switches it up this time and has to go so sharp to beat the big block.
Lucas Bergman off the tape. And then off the block and down. Maso, you touched on it. A middle to the opposite. What's the biggest challenge in changing from one to the other?
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
Because middle blocker typically has to be up and ready for the ball to be fed into them. They're already in the air, but for him, in this situation, he has to be waiting for it, going up to get it, so he still has to hit at his peak. There's just a lot of adjustment to make.
And we'll keep returning to that conversation. How much time we have? Probably around 2 hours.
Yeah, depends how many sets we go. I could talk middle transition to opposite all day long, you know, that's one of my favorite topics, so.
Cuba leading a 6-5. Javier Concepcion serving. Bergman, first touch is good. Oh boy. Tondique calls his own number, but it is wide.
I'm not mad about that swing, and I don't think the coach will be either, because you have to be aggressive, especially when Tondique is front court. He's trying to keep the blockers on it. So if he has a chance to go up and have a swing, it's out by a couple of centimeters, but he'll make the blockers think next time.
Outside. Ripped between the legs.
That's much better from Jan. You saw a couple of errors in a row there, so he needed to get one for that confidence as well. This time just goes straight down the middle. He's tried every other angle. Just go straight over it. That's a simple solution, right?
It's easy if you can get there. Pass is on the money. They could run the middle. They go outside instead, and a heavy block by Cuba. That's Maso moved to the opposite.
And this is where Honorato, despite how strong he is, at only 1.90 meters, going up against Maso, who's over 2 meters tall, that's a differential there. There's a disparity that he has to remember when he's in the air.
Bergman has trouble. It's twice now that Cuba's kind of taunting.
I was going to say, I like the cheekiness. I like it.
First time out called by Brazil.
Parou, mas vamos prestar atenção no seguinte. Olha como é que nós começamos o jogo. Quebramos os caras, abre no ar, faz de qualquer maneira e entra na gente. Pode então, larga pra fora. A bola de graça aqui. Totó! É isto, Totó do levantador, caralho! Tá? Ei, erro de ataque. Nós temos 4 pra eles. Ai, esgota uma vez. Só cagada nossa, porra. Por favor. Boa posição de defesa, pegou alto. Mas a nossa parte aqui, pegou por cima, rodou, não tem problema. Vamos fazer o nosso corretamente, por favor.
A lot of passion in the huddle. I don't speak Portuguese.
I don't either, but I think compared to yesterday, Iran gave up so many errors that it was almost easy for Brazil. I don't think this is going to be quite as easy as a match.
No, I agree with you. Got the first one under their belt. This is Tondique. Bergman handles. From the backcourt. Whoa, and the dig by Mikey. That was insane. Oh, and Darlan puts it away.
This is Brazilian volleyball. Take a look at this defense from Mike, and it's basically off of a ball that's attacked without even a set. He just pops it up, confident swagger to follow it up. That's an unfortunate miss, because that was an energy boost for the Brazilian side.
Sure was, and it drained at the gym, that miss. But the thing about it was that it looked like Tondique was going to set the ball, so I think all of us, at least I was watching the setter. Yeah. And then it was, oh no, take cover, put your helmet on. The only person not watching it was Mikey. Brazil winning the middle final.
I think Mikey goes underrepresented, undernoticed on this Brazilian side. He's not one of the big swingers, and there's so many of them on Brazil's side, but he just is calm, controlled. He's sprightly in the backcourt. He gets to these kind of balls that you don't even expect.
Right side, block. Flavio and Bergman combined.
Flavio getting stuffs like that out in Trentino where he won the Scudetto this season. He is one of the veterans on this team, and he provides that stability in the front court. That is a lights out block.
Middle. Beautiful up, Darlan again, looking for hands, finds fingers.
The last thing you want to do is be the Cuban fingers right now when Darlan goes up to swing, because he has an enormous amount of power. That's the passion I was talking about we saw yesterday. He's going to grab his teammates on his back and go.
And he feeds off the crowd. After almost every play, we'll see him be asking the crowd for more energy. It is his life source.
Love it.
Quick look across the net to see where the blockers aren't. Well done.
Yeah, Cuba to a silent crowd. That's still equally as impressive as the kind of volleyball we've seen on Brazil's side. Look how Jan just pulls the blockers with him on the other side, and the middle's kind of reaching one way, and he gets a completely open channel.
Alonso's serve, they are keeping it on Bergman. That's no problem for him. Finds that back corner. Redhead on fire.
Yeah, Bergman is kind of an unassuming player on this Brazilian side. I mean, he is over 2 meters tall, but he doesn't look physically the way that Darlan or Honorato do, but he still can hit those corners. And again, like you mentioned, handling that serve like a champ.
Wouldn't have him wrestle a rhino. I bet you he'd still do well.
Probably.
How about a little roundhouse through the middle?
Cuba going point for point, just battling it out. And I love getting the middle there for Concepcion. Get him going. Hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but when that ball is on, fire it in.
Masso's serve handled. Darlan, laser wide.
I'd love to get a timer on how long it takes to leave his hand to reach the floor, because I don't think it's even a full second. Split seconds.
Pass is trouble, picked up by Bergman. Beautiful set by Bergman, out of system, ball up, still going. Everybody looking at Darlan and said to go back to Bergman. That's the composure that we talked about, the maturity that Brazil has.
Yeah, and especially with their setter, Cachopa, who we talked about, who even with the back set there to the outside, he's recognizing that the blockers are kind of stacking on Darlan. He just goes the opposite way to get him one-on-one.
No good. This is proving to be a slugfest.
We knew it would be. Both teams have power. Both teams have passion. Again, controlling the errors is going to be key.
What'd you say, Kim? Those ones will accept.
Yeah.
Beautiful serve, long down the line. Now Bergman will go to the back. Trondike is front court. He already showed us that he will attack on the pass. Brazil as well from court center. And there it is. Patrolling.
Yeah, Masso just bringing that ball down. He sees what's open. He sees that channel down the line. But again, more often than not, he's in that middle blocking position. That's where he wants to go straight down. And opposite, you can't do that.
14 all, pulls the string on the serve a little bit. Goes back again, ball is good.
That's pretty much the same set that we saw, same swing, but he just went a little bit deeper with it. Again, he didn't get sucked in to try and swing back straight down, even though they gave him that line again. That's the shot. It's deep, end line, there's nobody defending there.
Outside, using the hands. Honorato, Brazil moving it around quite a bit. We've seen Bergman, Flavio, Darlan, Honorato.
Yeah, I think this is the key for any high-level volleyball team is you see Kashopa looking over where the blocker's going, and then he feeds it. So he's getting one-on-ones, and that variety is what keeps the middle blockers, all of the blockers, guessing.
Well, out of system. Darlan recycles, picks it up himself. Recycled again. Just a flex by Fernando Kashopa on the joust.
I mean, the fans are loving that, because fair enough if you get these big swings by the big guns, but when one of the undersized fellas gets it going, that one, it counts for two in my book.
Son. Pass is good. All options available. And that's the one sport that Massa. What makes him so difficult to defend?
He's a tall player, but in addition to that, he's still got those hops. So look how high he's swinging. And also the recognition for what's open. We've seen him when the line is open, just power it down there. If there's a seam, he's taking it. He's got a pretty high volleyball IQ. I was going to say despite being a middle blocker. That's a
dig at yourself.
That's a dig at me, exactly.
2012 Olympic middle blocker, Keith Michael.
We're used to being the butt of volleyball IQ jokes, so.
There it is. Well, better said by a middle than by someone else. Kashopa. Ball drops, a little bit of a connection, maybe a wasted opportunity to the middle. And they do get the touch. And then Brazil starting to build a lead. Cuba going to call a timeout to talk it over.
Sacando suave, están tocando la pelota y lo están cogiendo movido. Vamos a fajarnos con esa recepción. Nosotros con Colorado, no irnos para arriba a la varilla, no priorizar el impulso, marcarle bien la pelota, está atacando para allá atrás, para el ángulo de las 5. Pero Razanda, el hombre de esquina se está pasando, te pasaste ahorita, se pasó. Vamos.
2-point lead by Brazil, the biggest of this set for the hometown hosts. Just a regular Thursday afternoon here in Rio de Janeiro. Fans turning always. 18-16, set number 1 between Brazil and Cuba. Asking, is he reaching over the net? One of the rules in Volleyball Nations League this year, breaking the plane of the net.
Yeah, the question is whether or not there's a setter on the other side ready to set it. That can make a big difference. I think you're allowed to be aggressive, but not in the case that someone wants to set it underneath you.
And there will be a challenge. So while they're looking at it, you can now challenge for reaching over the net and touching the ball on the opponent's side. So that has changed a little bit from when we used to see the setter setting it into it. But this one, oh, look at that control. His hand stays on this side, don't you think?
I was going to say, I don't think he even crossed the plane anyway. He's got a super little turn over it, just a full wrist and just a contact with the palm, but he somehow kind of flicks that hand so that it stays on his side.
I mean, that's a good adjustment, Key, because we were used to him before this rule change, kind of snapping down over the top. The control and the awareness is beautiful. Unfortunately, that lets the gas out, and with that, Brazil's lead grows.
Yeah, I think Cuba are looking at 5 service errors right now, and this is one of the key points we said. Yes, they're going to be aggressive, but how can they force Brazil to play?
Not like that. Cuba requesting a substitution as Alonso goes out and Gomez comes in.
Out of yesterday. He was the best server in Slovenia last season, so comes in as that serving sub exactly for that reason.
It was worth the wait. Good serve. Back to Darlan, and Darlan's kill gets Gomez off the service line.
Darlan has so much range. How sharp was that angle that he's hitting inside the 3-meter line? Ball wide enough for him to make decisions. He's got a one-on-one, and he's going to Masso all day long there.
Speaking of serving subs, Adriano comes in to serve for Flavio. Adriano stands 2 meters 1. Off the block and out point, Cuba.
We haven't seen a whole lot of offense. I believe that was Miguel Angel Lopez, the captain, but he is also someone that Cuba can rely on a little more heavily. He's headed over to play in Japan, one of the faster leagues in the world, so I'd love to see him get a little more speed in that ball.
Yesterday, we saw Cuba play Slovenia tight until the end of sets 1 and 3, and then too many errors when it countered. Are we going to see the same thing today?
I think they kind of gave up in that 4th set, if I'm being completely honest. They let it run away with them and the emotions, and it was already almost midnight here local time. So I think playing a little earlier in the day, playing with the crowd behind them, I don't think you're going to see a Cuban team that lets the wheels go off the track the way that we did yesterday. They are sticking with Brazil right now, and if anything, they're playing cleaner volleyball in some areas.
Our officials, I believe it's that they're making sure they have their substitutions correct. Flavio out, Adriano in. And they're having a problem with the tablet. So let's talk about yesterday's matches. Okay, well, we saw this Cuba team versus Slovenia. What did Slovenia do well and gave Cuba a hard time?
Well, Slovenia does a lot of things well. They're a pretty balanced team. They have some young players. They had that young setter, Najdic, that was just dishing up, and he was using all of his different resources. We saw Mocic as their top scorer with 24 points, and they were just forcing Cuba to make movements out of the areas that they wanted to play. They were coming with power, they were serving tough. But Cuba, on the other hand, they had a kind of a slow start. They got a little better in that 2nd set, but they served so many balls out, 15 in total, and they gave up 28 errors overall. So even if they were competitive, and we saw them swinging high, hitting hard in some areas, they just kind of handed that match to the world number 3. And again, you cannot do that at this level. Whether it's Slovenia on the other side, whether it's Brazil, you got to find that balance.
Situation has been worked out. Cuba is serving. To the middle. Tossed up. Brazil looked a little bit stunned by the play, a little bit slowed down.
Yeah, also I'm watching it in replay there, and there's kind of 2 hitters in the same zone. You see Tondike kind of backing away to try and get out of the way. He's actually not a hitter, he's a setter, but Masso kind of popping up behind him, sneaky.
Darlan, the darling of Brazil.
There isn't anyone, I think, in the gym that hits harder than Darlan when he gets the ball he wants. 123 kilometers, and look at the blockers there. They've got only a sliver of space between them. But again, that volleyball IQ, he sees it, and he takes that space with his attack.
21 serving 20, 1st set. Brazil with a micro lead. Like that, 21-all.
Yeah, there have been a couple of key moments where it seemed like Brazil had a chance to go on a little run, get a bit of momentum, but they've just handed it right back to Cuba. Same thing on Cuba's side. They haven't gone any runs, so really this is still anyone's game, neck and neck to the end.
Brazil with a setter change. Matheus, number 5, the setter. Comes in, delivers it outside, and yep, block is very tight.
That's a tough moment to be in for Brazil. The block has kind of figured it out. Good movement there by Concepcion. He's closing it up. Tandike all over it.
Ei, pessoal passa aqui, variou bastante, tá melhorando os passos aí. Vamos chegar mais na frente do posto, tá? Tá vindo para lá direto lá, tá? Ei, vai.
Cuba with a lead now, 2 unanswered points. And for Brazil, making some changes, trying to see what they can do a little bit differently.
One of them being that double sub to keep the setter in the back court, have 3 options in the front court on Brazil's side to attack.
Ball long, good timeout, coach's point.
There's Lucarelli watching on. He'd love to be out there in the court. He's got a shoulder injury he's working on coming back to the court, but been here to support his team this week.
Bergman serving 22 apiece, first set. Ace serve by Lucas Bergman.
Huge point from Bergman. What a time for him to bring out this ripper cross court, forcing confusion between the passers.
Good time. That's a huge Bergman ace. How do you balance that set? That service pressure now. Timeout, the fans, and Bergman with the ball again.
Yeah, good work, good balancing of, like you mentioned, the pressure from the crowd, and Bergman, one of the younger players out there, to hit an ace in that clutch moment. That's big for Brazil right now.
23 serving 22, first set. Keeps it in, takes something off of it after the timeout. Dig was not controlled.
Great timeout called on Cuba's side, exactly like you mentioned, having to force Bergman to take a little bit of heat off of his serve. That puts Cuba in a good position to get a big swing on the outside, and Jant just controlled. They're giving a lot of line to this Cuban side, and I think as the match goes on, you start to recognize who's blocking you on what, who's taking away line or cross, and Cuba's getting a lot of options and a lot of looks down the line.
2016 Olympian Melga for Cuba in, good serve. Big kill.
Huge moment to set the middle. Again, Brazil with no fear to do it. And Yunsan, one of the higher hitters there. Again, over 2 meters tall, swinging with full confidence.
Brazil set point in a packed Montecasinho. Service is good, there's trouble brought back. Big swing needed, and it was good. Gutsy swing at set point.
Brazil was thinking they were done here, almost an ace, but what a hustle from Tandike and the absolute precision to take a swing. The courage it takes. Big move from Jant.
Tandike serving. Power is there, perfect pass, they can run the middle. Here's a chance for Cuba. Off the block and out, and it will be Cuba set point.
That's a big shift for Cuba. Again, handling that serve, putting themselves in a position, or it wasn't the serve, it was the big swing that came at them, but coming off of Flavio, and again, he is someone who can execute and terminate, so just to get a couple of touches here and out assisted plays looking really good for Cuba.
Cuba, first set point. Serve in to the middle again. That's what happens when you take pressure off. Brazil running up the gut.
I love Brazil going right back to Flavio. He had 2 blockers in front of him the first time, and you can already see Jan is creeping away. Masso is as well, so he's just got that one-on-one. He's not going to miss twice in a row.
Extra point, set 1. Confident swing to the back third of the court.
Jan is the guy right now. He is the go-to player on Cuba's side. He's been getting these balls, especially in awkward timed situations when he just has that pressure and he has to do something. He's doing it so well.
Set point number 2 for Cuba. It is Jan at the service line. Serve is good. Keeps it in play. Swinging for the set. What a dig! Ball down, Cuba wins set number 1, burying the ball on set. Going back the way it ended, but this time, a Brazilian block.
Or not.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. I think they're calling a net touch here, and this is kind of the way that the beginning of the last set started. We saw Flavio in the net when Darlan thought he had a big stop, so a bit of deja vu for the Brazilian side.
Crowd willing that ball out.
And I don't think the coach of Cuba is too upset with those serves errors. That's the 7th error by Cuba, but again, gotta put pressure on Brazil.
Middle, turn back. Pashopa to Mikey to Darlan. There's the middles involved again. It's Flavio.
And I think I'm seeing why Cuba's not running their middle as often, because that was pretty much a perfect situation to run it, and still it turned into an easy opportunity for Brazil. On the other hand, when Flavio gets a push and he gets a one-on-one, he's finding empty court all day.
Cross court, kind of a stunner. No step taken by Pashopa.
And this Cuban side, it's making more and more sense to me why they put Masso on that right side as well. If they're not going to run a whole lot of middle, you want to be able to utilize a guy like him, and he's getting a lot more opportunity to swing if he's on that pin.
That's the great explanation that you key in. So how will they use him? Will it be enough? He puts a formidable block up, of course, against Bergman as well.
Bergman having to go here, and that almost looks like a one-on-one because Masso's just staying inside so far, giving him so much line to work with.
I mean, what discipline it takes to not reach out and grab that ball.
You know, you'd want to.
Alonso serving. Pass is perfect for Brazil. Oh, reaching back. Here's a free ball for the hosts. Huge dig. Tondike. Darlan again. Ball's out, I believe it hit the antenna.
A few really good defensive plays there by Cuba's side, but I feel like if you give Brazil 1, 2, 3 opportunities, they're eventually going to take that bait and finish it off. And I think that was just, that rally stretched a little bit too long for Cuba.
Outside challenging the block of Darlan.
Lopez hasn't been a top scorer per se. I think that's only his 4th point. But again, when he gets the opportunity, he's making something of it. He's executing at a high level. The captain kind of taking that responsibility.
Making the smart set is Cachopa. Backcourt, no touch. Oh, the call is touch. Point, Cuba.
Masso with the hands. I think I'm just gonna keep calling out every time he touches the ball. He's got middle blocking skills, he's swinging and blocking, and also getting that set going. Well-rounded player.
Let's see what his serve looks like. A little long, lots of power.
Yeah, it looked like that toss was a little bit far in front. He got a little underneath it, so he's kind of floating in that hand on the backspin of it.
Fans chanting Darlan. Ace serve for Darlan.
There's that Naruto pre-serve routine that everybody loves to see. He is such a character on the court, and this is why he basically looks like he's out of an anime.
Powerful serve outside the swing to get Darlan off the end line. Ball's ping-ponging around. Big-time block. That's what you want as a server.
Oh, yeah. Huge block there, backing up that big server, keeping him on the line. And again, he's one of the stronger servers of Brazil's side. But look how far this ball is inside. I mean, that's basically center of the court. Not much you can do there. Three-man umbrella in front of you.
Third serve. Over. Bergman recycles in, going to get a better spot. It'll be Darlan. Point Cuba. The service run ended. 3 serves by Darlan.
And you had a feeling that Cuba just couldn't let that service run go much longer. They had to stop bleeding those points, but super block there by the captain. Those full press of the arms to take away Darlan's space.
Oh, it's an ace. No. I'm waiting for the moment because the official at first called it an ace. And Brazil's going to ask a substitution because indeed it was. Right alongside Bergman.
I think Bergman got the best look at that, and you can tell by his reactions. That's a beautiful serve by the captain of Cuba.
Adriano comes in for Bergman on this serve receive. Immediately first swing, and it's a kill. That's the way to come off the bench, Adriano.
Almost looked like that was touched 4 times. You see Judson taking a look at it, but you're exactly right. Coming off the bench, 3 blockers are up. Hit that coffin corner. Avoid everyone on the other side. Just don't even give him a chance to touch it.
Hands. Chase it back. Bundike. Does it look like he might take it? Ball is up. That's trusting the libero. What's the call?
Well, I think there's some confusion as to what's going on there. I think Cuba thought that ball was down in the first place, that Mike got underneath. But here's the call of whether or not he was over. Oh, he's touched the net, let alone being over the net. That's the right call.
Just to erase any doubt.
Yeah.
Over and touched.
Yeah.
What a beautiful up.
Yeah, Cuba they are not going quietly, even after some super defensive plays on Brazil's side.
Darlan buries the ball cross court.
Again, Adriano, I love how he's kind of stepped in confidently to his role right now. First it was attacking, and now he's in the passing lineup next to Mike. Just calm presence added to this Brazilian side.
Service just a little bit long. Masso ducks for cover.
A couple of matrix moves back there. You'd hate to lose a point on that, though. Getting hit by the ball when it's on the way out.
Especially when it's this close. 9 serving, 8. Tondike back to serve, rotation 1 for Cuba.
It's hard to tell what the serving target is of Cuba because so many balls have gone out out of bounds, out the back, or into the net. They were going after Bergman for a little while, but now he's off the court, so what are they going to be targeting?
Over and in.
That's probably a good start.
That's a good start.
Court. 9 meters by 9 meters should be the target.
"24-year-old Darlan serving. Mikey puts it in the setter's hands to be able to run the middle to Flavio.
And this is the difference. So we can harp on about those errors all day long, but that serve was way too soft. And then you see what Brazil can do when they get it. Flavio bringing so much space there.
Down again. The important thing, right, on those is the response, and they got a response.
Yeah, and this is why more middle is coming at both sides as well, because as soon as the foot comes off the gas in terms of serving, the setter can do what he wants, and we haven't seen a lot of middle on Cuba's side, so this is certainly the time to run it if you can.
And they turn 1 into 2. No. We're tied up again, 11-0. Judson re-enters. Flavio go back to serve. This is the rotation without a libero on the floor. Mikey not on. Garcia to the right for Cuba. They serve him. Soft use of the block.
Great angles there by Lopez, especially it looked like that was going to be Brazil's opportunity. A mishandle here by Garcia, high out of system ball, so Lopez does really well to just stay calm, composed, and hit off the hands.
Middle they go. We're seeing a lot more middle key in this second set than in the first.
I love it. I'm here for it. Again, it tells you a lot about the passing. So Brazil, when the setter is moving ever so slightly forward, the middle blockers on the other side have to make a decision. Do they go with, or do they wait for that fling to the backside? So it's just adds another dimension.
12-all, Darlan serve gets the ace. Heavy heat speed, 133 kilometers an hour.
Well, no wonder Lopez is reaching for it there. He barely even saw it. In slow motion, it's going full speed.
Ball is just long. Cuba escapes Darlan from the service line. He has been elite in this set. Had a nice service run earlier, 3. Captain Lopez. A serve of his own coming back at you.
I love to see this variety from the servers on the court right now, because it doesn't always come down to the power. You can have the fastest serve in the world. It still counts for the same amount of points as one that drops right in front of 2 receivers and they have to move or talk about it. This is what volleyball is all about, finding ways to score that are not just power. How can you be smarter than your opponent?
Another service error. And they're trading. They're just trading back and forth, right? There's chess moves as you're talking about it, playing smarter, not harder. Okay, what's the score? What's the time and situation? Can I go extra hard on this serve?
And in the last set, Cuba just crept over the edge of the end line. So as long as they stay with Brazil in this set, they can do the same.
Very tough ball coming over your shoulder right up at the net. Well handled. And that's just frustrating. Cuba just using Brazil's strength against them.
Yeah, it seems like Brazil is trying to go harder and hit harder and sharper and sharper. And Cuba just, they're looking at the block, they're recognizing that that is not the opportunity to go at your heaviest arm and just go off the hands. They've done a great job of that so far.
Challenge issued by Brazil. They're saying there was a net touch. Yeah, I would have thought it would have been against Brazil.
Yeah, on what part of the game are they talking about? Because the last contact was an attack by Cuba.
What you see, show.
There was that one tight set where they were, both teams were jousting at the net. It could be that.
That's the only one I can think of.
Bench ask a challenge, not
Hard to
the
tell
coach.
in real
Coach
time there.
has to explain
to avoid misunderstanding. Understand?
If you're calling a challenge now, I don't mind this out of Brazil because it does feel like Cuba's getting a little bit of momentum behind them. Despite a couple of missed serves in a row, they're looking really good right now.
Oh, wow, the knee from Brazil.
So Brazil calling a challenge to look for a net touch. Turns out there was a net touch by Brazil.
Yeah, they found one.
Yeah, there it is.
I got good news and I got bad news. 15-14. It has been this tight the entire way. No good. Cuba, they have their first 2-point lead since the score was 5-3.
That's huge. Again, Cuba, a team that blow a little hot and cold. So my question for them is, can they be consistent from here until the end? Can they force Brazil off the court rather than just relying on Brazil's errors?
Concepcion. Serve winds up. Pretty power. Good, strong rip by Honorado and trying to get the crowd fired.
Again, Brazil, a super proud nation when it comes to volleyball. So you get a swing like this from Honorado and you can see the look in his eyes that he was going to score that point no matter what.
Foot fault on that serve. Lead remains at 2.
Both teams have been giving up points. It seems like most of the points given up by Cuba are in serves, and by Brazil are just little things like net touches, foot faults.
Here it is again. Cuba off the block. Cuba making good decisions for when to go hard on the serve or when not to. It's just when they don't, if Brazil's on their game, this is what happens.
Yeah, and it's been Cuba that's been using the arms as a block until now, so it's nice to see Brazil doing it as well.
Now Cuba can come right up too. Good play. Communication on Brazil's side from Adriano saying, I'm going to take it to get this all the way out to Honorado. We're locked back up. Lead evaporated.
Communication at a premium right here, and that's exactly why it's so important on those balls coming off the block on Brazil's side. Adriano talking to his setter.
Pound town, that's Yant. Cuba regaining the lead. Remember, Cuba won the first set. Yesterday, Cuba had trouble with errors in their match against Slovenia at the end of the set. 2 matches in less than 24 hours.
Big ask. And that could have something to do with why these serves are going so long, going in the net. I mean, when you're fatigued, that's one of the first things to go is that control, that sort of ball discipline of your body as well.
Honorato's serve, plenty of power. Garcia first touch, and Lopez puts the ball down for last touch.
I hope we get a chance to have a look at that again, because that was perfection into that corner. Let's have a look.
Oh.
Just. And again, the deeper that you swing, and this is a lesson for any volleyball at any level, if you can tag that end line, 9 times out of 10, no defender's gonna be there.
Yeah, the back third of the court is underused, especially in the younger ranks of volleyball. Darlan, bounce, town, and a flex.
Yeah, unless you're Darlan and you can do something like that, there's no way we're gonna tell him to hit the back third of the court. He's got a wide open space there. Concepcion has jumped with the middle on the other side. That is Darlan's bread and butter.
What do you mean, there's court after the 3-meter line?
It doesn't exist in Darlan's world.
This whole thing can be short court. 19 all, good first touch, outside again. Really nice dig, first hand touch on it, just too hot for Adriano.
And Lopez saying, anything you can do, I can do too. I've got some angles like that, and proving it inside the block, forcing Adriano to try and get under it.
Out goes Artur. Libero is back in. Nice control. Okay, we know where he's going to hit now. He's hit the last 3 balls there. How do you get your helmet on and get under it?
It's difficult because Darlan is someone who hangs in the air for so long, and he's got a one-on-one, right? So Lopez is taking the line, then he's taking the cross. Darlan will just hit the line if he gives it to him. So you got to just take away something and hope that you go the right way.
Backcourt, Darlan kind of chicken wings it a little bit. We're tied at 20 apiece. Block coming down, it's not over. Tondique sets, no touch point, Brazil. Brazil takes the lead, 21-22nd set.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Cuba want to have another look at this. There's the block and a couple of touches by Adriano, so the question is how many?
And you are correct that Cuba is challenging for a block touch. What do you think when you saw it back the second time?
I don't think there was a block touch. I think he was completely far from the blockers. That what I would have been challenging, if you're allowed, would have been those touches from Adriano. And I think that might be the question right now.
Explanation going to be given here. So with that, Cuba will try to ice the server and call a timeout. Brazil leading 21-20.
El saque tiene que caer dentro. Si el saque no cae dentro, no funcionamos en el bloqueo. Estamos regalando los puntos. Llevamos alrededor de 9 saques fallados. 9 puntos el saque nada más le hemos regalado a ellos. No han hecho cada uno. No le hemos dado más. Nosotros con Darlan el pase está corto. Vamos a dejarlo que reviente la línea. Porque todos los dado de 2 para 2 está entrándole muy de frente para ahí. Ya que se va el defensor de la línea para irse con la pelota esa.
Well, that win prediction. Here comes the kiss of lines. Cuba winning the first set. Brazil micro lead in the second.
And it's interesting, I feel as though if that last point had gone Cuba's way, the score would be reversed. It would be 21-20 for Cuba. That might have been put them over the edge to cross that line.
Darlan serving after the timeout, after the stop in action. Big time serve, good speed. Outside, huge dig, but another chance for Cuba to swing. Darlan is blocked. Yes, point Cuba.
Huge block for Cuba. Again, Brazil put in awkward, uncomfortable situations here. 2 players running it down. Mike trying to get Fernando out of the way there, saying, you go set, I've got this. But that inside set, way too far inside on the 3 blockers on Cuba's side. Read that like a book.
21 apiece. Outside, Darlan! Back throw to the court, kill! Brazil regains the lead.
Brazil are ready to fight. Massive swing from Darlan. He doesn't care if there's 1, 2, 3 people in front of him. He's going full throttle every single time.
(22-21) second set. Serve, took speed off of it. Big dig, unable to be contained. And once again, Cuba locks it at 22 apiece.
Cuba has played so level-headed. That's something that I've been really impressed by, because we talk about them running hot and cold, but they have been really steady in difficult, high-pressure, high-emotional situations.
It's a big play here. We've been trading back and forth. Can Cuba put two together? Gomez serving. We've seen him come in. We talked about his serving, best server in the Slovenian league at one point. Heck of a serve is right. This is your only option. Big dig. Can Cuba finish? Off the block. Yes, they can. Cuba regains the lead.
Huge play for Cuba. What a defense in the backcourt by the captain, just popping that ball up, allowing his team to run again, and they live to fight another day.
Tirou a força, tudo bem, mas não pode jogar aqui embaixo lá, tá? Atenção, a bola foi pra lá apertar, centralizou. Vai pra cara. Deixa lá, Mike. Não deu gol. Esqueça a porra, caralho. Tá? Ei.
Vai, galera, passamos o jogo.
Ei, pessoal, firme, saque dele é firme. Firme, levantador. Ei,
Sai da
Can Cuba do it again? Capture these points, put three together, take the second set. We'll remind you, World Championships 2022, Cuba jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and then Brazil reverse swept. But first, there's business. Gomez at the service line. Pass is solid. Through the middle, huge dig. Shoving it down the block. Honorato comes to the rescue.
So smart by Honorato. I think Cuba got a little lucky there with Maike unable to handle that overpass, but Honorato recognizing those blockers are going to be in place. There's no point taking a big swing. Let's do some off-speed stuff. We haven't really tested Cuba's side on off-speed just yet.
Serves good. It's slower. It allows for this high hands. It's a beautiful, thoughtful play by Yant.
Darlan on the floor in the backcourt to keep that ball in play. Yant is putting a whole lot of pressure here, but a one touch and then another one. There has to be someone else getting underneath that third contact for Brazil.
Cuba serving for the set. It's Tondike to go up 2-0. Pass is good. Everybody knows it's going to Darlan. Through the uprights and down, and he asks the crowd for support.
The crowd ready to give it to him. He absolutely feeds off of this energy, and look at how high pressure situation takes a full swing.
Off the block and down. It will be set point number 2.
Yant, best scorer of the Club World Champs in 2022. He is someone that does not mind getting that ball in a high pressure moment.
Here he is behind the service line. Set point number 2 for Cuba. Pass is perfect. Off hands. Opportunity. Got to be a big swing. And it is. Cuba goes up 2-0 over Brazil in Brazil.
Cuba have come to play. This is shocking the entire gym, but I have to tell you, we saw them play yesterday. We know what they can do, and again, in these moments when they had to come and show up, just that one opportunity to recycle the play, you just knew Lopez was going to go for it down the line. What a play by Cuba.
through the uprights and down. Brazil, the 7th ranked team in the world, swept Iran yesterday, and now hands full versus Cuba. They pulled off the reverse sweep the last time these two teams met in the 2022 World Championships. Can they do it again?
Well, having a look at some of the stats here from that second set, I'm looking at everything, and it's basically neck and neck, right? Blocks, serves, errors. There's really nothing that stands out, which tells me these two teams are so well balanced. For me, Cuba gave up a little bit.
Let's check in with Emily.
Coach, your team is up 2-0. What are you doing really well?
We have a very good volleyball in the first two sets. Is keep doing the job, only that.
What adjustments do you want to see to further extend your lead?
Repeat that.
Any adjustments on your side?
Yes, of course, the service. We have many fouls in service. We're going to make more easy and make the block.
Harder serves. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you, Hugh.
Thank you, Emily. I mean, it's about, you talked about it, being even there, and so it was about the right time and the right place.
Yeah, and Cuba they were just going for it from the end line, and you could see how many serves they put out. They gave up 6 points there, but again, they have to be aggressive against this Brazilian team, but can they manage that?
Emily Eman is standing by on courtside.
Coach, will we see any changes on your side to combat what Cuba's throwing at you?
In reality, the match is really close, you know. It's important we improve our reception to play better with all the players, because all the time we play, I mean, just with outside hitters or our opposite, then we need to control it. Of course, it's not so easy. Serve is good, but we can play a little bit better in this skill and play long. And more important, we have some opportunities during the set, and we lost these opportunities. Yeah, maybe we have just 1, 2, or 3 opportunities during the set. You need to control these balls and kill the points. Then, but we will stay in the same level a little bit more and control these situations to play better and kill one set, and then think in another one.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Cuba. From the backcourt, an immediate swing and a smack.
Okay, I think the message was clear for the Cuban coach. Take a bit of heat off it. Let's force the Brazilian side to play. Let's rely on our block a little bit more. But the danger is that's what you're going to get. If you take heat off it, Brazil will come firing.
Adriano's serve. I mean, put it right in the hands of the setter, and so they can run Alonso through the middle.
Yeah, Garcia just handling that backcourt on Cuba's side, and I really like the way that Cuba's kind of running their offense again. Tondike now using the middle, and he didn't do a lot of that in the last couple of sets, so go there early on in this set. I like that.
Alonso's serve handle to the middle, change of speed. How about a little tenderness?
Considering how aggressive Brazil was going, power, power, power in the last couple of sets, I had a feeling we might start to see a few off-speed rolls, tips into that middle of the court, and just test out the defense of Cuba there.
Now Judson at the service line.
Middle on middle crime. Flavio has to reset the quaff.
Toss got away from Masso. Early on, you can afford a few more service errors than later in the set as well. And we saw both teams playing that well. Not a lot of errors at the end of that set after 20.
Yeah, that's when you got to be super clean.
Oh. I think we've seen more middle action already in this set than we saw in last set.
And that's the result of slowing down that serve a little bit, taking off some of the heat, and you're going to see much faster rallies if that's the case.
Here's Lopez, points leader for Cuba. Darlan, picked up.
Great defense by Masso. He's looking at his teammates going, hang on guys, what's going on up there? Anytime you can convert a defense into a point, if Darlan's swinging, you want to be able to use it. But again, those touches at the net, last time it was Brazil.
Some trouble, but Garcia brings it back. Outside, big swing.
Too easy for Brazil. Give them a free ball and they will send you back an absolute stunner, and that's exactly what Adriano does there. He's got one-on-one. I think if you're gonna give a free ball, you gotta force at least somebody to take it, like the setter or the opposite or the middle, not just straight in the center of the court.
Honorado continues to serve. That one he was putting the heat on, right? You build it as a player. It looks like here they took some speed off, a little more you think him on the end line, you might get full speed. Here is Concepcion. 27 years old. One of the 3 Olympians from 2016 on this team. Popped up dig. Ooh, got to bounce off of the net.
That's a good rub of the green there for Cuba, because as you mentioned, that ball coming from behind Yad, he doesn't get a full swing on it. He's got to look at the blockers, the ball, the court. There's too much to see there, so he's not going to take a full swing, but he capitalizes on some confusion on the other side.
Anything you can get, it's 5-0. Darlan's been a little bit quiet as of late. Outside. Cuba just changing speeds. I mean, we're seeing a different look at Cuba even though they've won the last 2 sets. So I guess little changes.
And I wonder if it's a little bit of fatigue, again, playing late last night, or they're just trying to figure this game out, because in the first couple of sets, it was Brazil going full power, and it was Cuba using the hands, rolling into the shots, and they're going to continue doing that because that's what's working.
Brazil is challenging, saying Cuba was in the net. It's the first challenge of this 3rd set.
If I saw anything in this set that looked a little squiffy, it was Mike's foot going underneath the net. So I don't think I saw a net touch anywhere, but again.
Well, we already saw them challenge 1 net touch and it was theirs. So
yeah,
as you're saying.
Exactly. Brazil have not had great luck with challenges.
Meanwhile, it gives the players a little bit of time. Look, Darlan was all power first set. Why have they gone away? What are you seeing?
That's a great question, because I feel as though he loves to swing that power. He's maybe trying to take a bit off, test that roll shot, and again, that middle of the court. If they can find ways to score that are not just power, then they're going to have more options. They have to be players that are versatile, that have range, that can do more than just one thing. They are not one-trick ponies. They're the best players in the world, so proving that they have something else in their toolkit is going to be really crucial for Brazil, especially against a Cuban team that's been picking things up. Their defense has been on point.
No block touch, no net touch.
For the challenge. Point win, Cuba's away.
I think the onus right now is on Brazil to try and mentally overcome the challenge of being down 2 sets, because they had the confidence coming into the first set and the second set. They're looking a little bit rattled, if you ask me. And Cuba, again, doing some things really well. They're controlling the controllables. Their errors are pretty high, but they're doing a lot of things really well. One of them being hitting off the block and out of bounds. Those defenses that they're getting under, now they're starting to add some rolls and tips into it. So Cuba are a really scrappy team, and they're difficult to play.
we going to see a right elbow come down? Nope. No one.
The question is, was that the rally that they were looking for, or was it something else?
Finish. Sorry, we have to finish. Believe me, I will explain.
Just making sure they get it right.
Yes, I understood. I understood.
And there was a big question at the end of that second set, which gave the point to Brazil. Remember, I was questioning if there was a double touch on Adriano, but somehow Cuba overcame anyway. So it feels a little bit like Brazil's kind of clutching at straws here.
It's early in this third set. It's a dead stop for momentum. I'm not sure that really serves Brazil either. They were playing well in this third set.
I cannot see on both sides.
Yeah, they've been playing consistent the entire match so far, and Darlan even just getting better. He had 5 points in the first set, and then he had 8 in the second. But I think someone who stepped up on Cuba's side is Lopez. Out of 12 points, 9 of them came in that second set. So now the onus is on Brazil to try and recognize that. First it was Yant who they had to try and slow down. Now it's Lopez. So there's different areas of the court. Also Masso came out firing, and he's gotten a little more quiet. I think Cuba has so many weapons that they're utilizing that Cuba now is kind of on the back foot trying to figure out where that ball's going to go.
Show. Just show. It lasts too long. Yes.
Looks like here's the look. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yep. And the crowd loves it.
Good challenge by Brazil. It took us a while to get there, but
good things come to those who wait.
For net touch by Brazilian team.
Now, what are you going to do with it? That's the question.
Of Cuba.
Score flips. Brazil
Point
has
for Brazil.
How do you capitalize?
Well, they have to make sure they get this serve in first and foremost, because after that long of a wait, you can't just send a free point back in the other direction. They have to force Cuba to play, but again, it can't be too simple, because we know that Cuba have not struggled to get around a 2 or 3 person block so far. So gotta find that balance here for Flavio.
Good recovery outside. Whoa! Looking for hands, I get it, but found the upper tier of the arena.
Yeah, going with a fist there, I think, and he recognizes he's gonna have a big block, just looking for the fingertips.
Let all the air out of it. I was going to say 3-point lead, pretty big for Brazil.
Yeah, that would have been tough to come back from, because even though Cuba is a team that can go on a couple of runs here, Brazil, you don't want to let them get their confidence back.
Fans doing their part here. As Todike goes to serve. Raining boos on him. Every opponent has said they have loved it. They love the energy and the knowledge of these fans. Bam! Back third. Judson off a great pass.
The difference with this set, and we heard the coach talk about wanting to serve a little bit softer, is that if you serve out of bounds and you give a point that way, that's fine. But if Brazil earn a point like this, that's firing them up. So those are both equal, the same weight on the scoreboard, but momentum-wise, it's more.
And Brazil needs a little Darlan to get going again, too. Serving 8. Yant, great serve, better pass. Everything coming up the middle right now.
I love seeing Brazil use all areas of their court, and the middle is sometimes the most useful because you've got 2 attackers there. So you've got your quick ball, but you've also got someone popping up from the back court, which as a middle blocker on the other side, you've got to kind of have really quick half jump reactions, and sometimes you just don't have time to block both.
Adriano serving. Goes to the back court. Good smooth rip. We haven't called Masso's name in a while.
He's still there. He's been hanging out. He's been waiting. The thing about Cuba right now is they're playing really level-headed. So even a big swing like that and a huge point for Cuba, they're not getting over-revved. They're not getting too excited. Brazil, on the other hand, are way too fired up.
Middle. Now the fans are fired up right with them. Except her, she's just watching.
Yeah, it's like two different sides of the coin right now. The passion coming out of Brazil's side is palpable. And they got to prove it. Their fans are here, ready for a match. They're not going down 3-0 without a fight.
10 serving 8. Pass is good. Middle not an option. Outside, hesitate and let it rip.
Sportsmanlike conduct there from the captain. High swing. Blockers are not sure if they want to put their hands up. Ball straight into Judson on the chin. A little uppercut action, but the captain goes over to apologize, make sure he's okay.
Are we sure he's apologizing or just taking a quick, closer look?
Could be either.
Want to see my work.
Yeah.
Great joust. That's just composure. That's what Brazil needs more of, is composure. Honorato.
Honorato has been in the gym, so if anyone's going to win those jousts, it's going to be him.
Beautiful pass. Better block, Flavio. Out.
He's there. He's making that commit block, so his decision-making is good, recognizing what Tondike wants to do, and again, every time that ball's been right there in the middle on his head, he's gone middle.
Full serve, it's long.
I wonder if Cuba got the message from their coach to slow things down on the serve.
Honorato. Cuba stacked a little bit to the right. They end up serving left. Brady cycle into the net. What are you going to do now? Super tight. It's still up. Oh, missed opportunity for Cuba.
Huge miss opportunity. Yeah, and recycling the ball there. And again, that was Brazil who were on the back foot trying to scramble to make a play out of that defense. Just zero blocker, wanted it too much.
Honorato's serve goes long. You know what? We're not talking enough about Yonder Garcia because these rallies keep going on and on, in part because of the 32-year-old libero out of Cuba. He has been right place, right time, every time. Concepcion.
Yeah, I think that's the sign of a good libero, is when you don't notice him. He's just there, he's quietly making phenomenal defenses. He's not sprawling all over the court. He's just sitting in the pocket and popping it up.
Dribble, tape ace. Largest lead of the match, +4, Brazil over Cuba, and Cuba's going to take time to talk about it.
Le bajamos, le estamos bajando nosotros la intensidad al partido. Nosotros somos los que le estamos bajando la intensidad que teníamos adentro. Lo dije al principio, no podemos pensar que ellos van a regalarnos el partido ni que nos van a regalar el set. Esto gana el que tenga los 3 primeros sets. Tenemos que nosotros seguir empujando y seguirlos presionando. El saque, señores, el saque en el terreno hacia las esquinas.
Cuba up 2 sets to none, but down by 4 in this third set. Where was the turning point, Kate?
Well, I feel like when they came into this set, Brazil had a different look in their eyes. They were scrappy and fighting for everything. We know that that's their gameplay. They want to be high hitters with power, but they've kind of reined in their errors a little bit, and now it's Cuba. They take their foot off the gas in terms of serve, and they're feeling that right back at them.
Be interested to see if they're going to get Darlan involved at all on Cuba's side. Been a lot of unforced errors, and that one was a domination against Brazil in the middle of the play. Still a 3-point lead.
Yeah, it felt like Brazil gave up a lot of errors. Pretty similar on par in terms of numbers for Cuba, but it's we're less used to seeing Brazil make errors like that.
From the middle, just a clean kill.
And this is what you get if you serve Brazil a soft serve. They're going to send you back an absolute pummel down the middle.
The fans begging for a Darlan special, and they get one. Overpass. Bang! Perfect play for Brazil.
That connection has been on point this set. It's been all middle. Judson is getting more ball in this set than he's seen all match long because of how good the serving has been and the passing.
Darlan again. Rip, and that'll get him off the back line. Cuba trailing by 4.
Good work by Cuba to get that conversion. They could not afford to bleed any more points.
Ball still up. Don't count it as an ace just yet. Garcia moves everybody out of the way. To be able to run it up the pipe. Point, Cuba.
Great work by Darlan to get that ball, keep that in play right there, but you had a feeling as soon as it was a free ball, and you called it, Garcia just stepping in, taking it with his hands, easy pickings for that ball to go down the middle.
Haven't seen Cuba put things together back-to-back in a while. This time a softer serve. Pushed. Ball is down.
The difference is it feels like there's a lot more for the Brazilian side to cheer about in this set. The points that Brazil were getting in the last set, a lot of them were just errors, serves out the back. Now it's Brazil really earning their points. And again, a different strategy on Cuba's side, serving a little bit softer and not making those errors means Brazil can really ride that momentum.
That point felt extra big to me. I don't know why we're just late in the set. It seemed like a doable play for Cuba. And now it's getting harder and harder. Darlan, and once he gets going, the fans get going.
Easy pickup in the back. Adriano popping it up to his setter, and even with 2 blockers coming up against Darlan again, he's flying in the air.
5-point lead, the biggest lead of the match. Pass is good. Push, chicken wing, oh boy. Patrolling the net. It's a new Brazil.
Brazil have found their confidence again. This is a team that expects themselves to be the best in the world. So when they're not playing that way, it's really hard for them to get going. But right now, with their crowd here behind them, they're looking real good.
Lopez out, number 2. Melga in. He's down the line for Cuba. Will they serve him? They tried.
Challenge for Brazil is to not get too excited. This set is not over. They still have work to do. I feel that this Cuban side, even though this set hasn't gone their way, they've still got more gas in the tank.
15 serving 20. Must-win set for Brazil. Oof. It is a Judson world right now. We're all just living in it.
Had 4 kills in this set alone, and look at how They're finding his height. They're getting him above the blocker on the other side. Brazil are pounding their chest around the entire country right now. Cuba got to figure out how to put a couple of points, string some points together, and I'd like them going back to their strong serving. I think that was what worked.
Pass. Darlan gets him to come down with it.
I mean, that's still a solid serve on Cuba's side, but the passing has stepped up tenfold on Brazil's, and then Fernando can just do what he wants with it.
Garcia's pass is good outside. First solid swing for Melvin.
Melga looking down the line. Great setup there. Look how much space he has. The blockers are taking him cross, and that wide set allows him to make that decision to go line.
Chopa outside to Darlan. Too much.
And we saw a few of those early on. We know Darlan wants to go with full power. He reined it in, he found the court, he found the hands. I don't think he'll be too worried about that swing going long.
If Cuba is to make a move, it has to be here. To the middle. Still good. It'll be a free ball. Garcia first contact. Off the block and good point, Cuba.
Tondike, do you remember early in the set, he went for it, he attacked it when he was front court. That's why he's able to hold the block there.
Hey! Rodar. Dois erros nossos aqui, erro de ataque, erro de jogo aqui. Ele encaixou duas na 5, firme lá pra rodar a primeira. Ok? Entrando um pouco mais da bola. Tempo de bola, vou escolar um pouquinho, tempo de bola, firme lá. Tá? Tá um pouquinho quebrado. Ok? A primeira aqui. Sonhou, bola aqui.
Olha, eles são os variantes lá, fica ali, abre pra jogar. Tamo hoje, joga lá, os caras estão errando.
There's been a Cuban run to bring it this close again. They're down by 3.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Cuba needing a few points, just stringing them together, and they've gone back to the top serving. I love that for them.
Outside, Darlan gets it right.
That's just a perfectly timed timeout as well by Bernardinho, because he knows by calling that timeout, he's going to have to force the server to slow down a bit. That's going to get his team back in that rhythm.
Garcia just right on the money. Ball out, point Cuba.
Yeah, that was a 4-point run they had just then. If they can get another, if they can put some pressure back on Brazil, even if they're not able to finish out this set, that's what they're going to want to come into the next one with.
Here is Gomez, 25 years old. We've talked about him before and his excellent serving. And just as I'm thinking about it, when you come in as a serving sub at that point, it is set point Brazil to stay alive in this match. Brazil for the set. Not so fast.
Masso's been calm. He's been composed. Does a great job of finding that. And again, every time he gets that swing, he just turns around back to his team, says, all right, next one. Loving his attitude and the way he plays.
Dondique, again, it is Brazil set point. Darlan off the block, and now fans on their feet. And Brazil stays alive. Serving. Darlan, they chant. Great first serve handled by Gomez. Aggressive from Yant.
I'm wondering why Cachopa is even in that block. He came in a little late, he's off the net, he's the third man in it. He could have just hung out for that roll or a tip on the other side.
Hindsight, Key, hindsight.
So, exactly, from up here it's so easy.
Beautiful pass. Trying to get that block to take it down with him. Why didn't they? Why did the block work?
They're hanging there. They're defying gravity, and this is something we know about this Cuban side, is they're going to be athletic. It's a good read. 3 blockers are up there, and I think Honorato is even expecting that to be covered. He's not going full speed, right? They're doing a little bit more in terms of tips and rolls, so he's waiting for his team to block, cover that.
Darlan. Cuba's saying they didn't touch it. I think I agree with them. Ball's still up though, rally's still happening. They can challenge it afterwards. It's not in the middle of the rally. And immediately, Cuba goes to the challenge card.
Interesting. I'm looking at Alonso because I want to know if he maybe got a little piece of it there, or on the outside even. Yant, I think, was the one in the mix there. But typically, in terms of physics, if you're blocking the way you're supposed to be, your arm should be over the net. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get some kind of touch on it. So, and I doubt this was 100% clean, just based on physics. Unless that ball goes really in the bottom of the net. If it clips the tape, it probably clips an arm as well.
It'll have to be decisive in order for it to be overturned, of course, because the play did run at the course, and the officials did not call it. So, we'll see what we can find. It took some work to do her hair, by the way.
She looks great.
Yep.
Anytime there's a mid-rally challenge, it takes a little longer as well to get there because they got to find it. They got to go back through all the back and forth of the tape and see exactly where this happened or didn't happen.
Right. It's like, no, not that one. Back
That
further,
one,
back
not that
further.
one. Brazil just have to be really disciplined in this next set, and I mean mentally as well, because we know they can do a comeback here. But I think Cuba have pressed them more than they were expecting.
You know, Cuba has that turnaround from last night to now pretty tough, and then they're going to face a tough Ukraine team tomorrow who swept the United States yesterday. That Ukraine team have just a lot of talent. It's the first time in Volleyball Nations League, and they came in and played like vets.
Yeah, Tupci was phenomenal. He had 16 points. That's the same number that Darlan had. So you're looking at a player and a group of Ukrainian players that have been together for a while, and they put that pressure on the USA because they're big, they're physical, they're fast, and they could surprise a few other teams here as their first year.
So they are saying it's Brazil's point, and
We
Cuba
check,
is
we
fighting
check,
hard.
we
I mean,
check.
I think Cuba's also asking about that.
We check all the angles,
But I
please.
do see where it grazes the upper arm, Sicily pits, as we say.
Do we say that?
We do. Have you not heard that? Sicily pits.
We check
But I'm gonna
3
use it.
angles.
No.
We check 3
It
angles.
means kind of low seam, too.
Okay.
Doesn't sound comfortable, does it?
Not sure I want any part of that.
There's a difference between delivering it and receiving it.
Gotcha.
Learn something new every day. Adriano. Beautiful cover. Chopa was waiting for somebody to tell him whether or not that ball was good. This one off the block. It is not.
This is kind of what Cuba was doing to Brazil early days in this match, was going high and hard off of the hands. It's a skill that high-level players have to have. Brazil certainly have it, but we haven't seen them utilize it that much.
court through the block. This set feels a little bit like a danger zone, honestly, because of the momentum, because of where we are when we finish this play.
100%. There's danger on both sides, because for Cuba, they have an opportunity to take Brazil down in Brazil. And for Brazil, they have to play clean, they have to be disciplined, they have to communicate, they have to rely on things other than just their muscles and power to get the ball down. But they do not want to go down to Cuba here in their home.
The energy of Cuba, it doesn't feel the same as it did earlier on, and this crowd does play a part in it. They know history.
And sometimes just a couple of points going the wrong way. I mean, maybe in the first set that would have tagged the line, that would have been point for Cuba, they would have been back and forth, but momentum is fully on Brazil's side.
Over 7,000 fans here in the arena, approaching 8,000. Pound.
Credit to Garcia as well. He is back there just absolutely passing dimes to his setter. Watch this one, off the platform, Tornique barely has to move, and Flavio is trying to cover 3 players at the same time.
Outside. Wanted to use the block, did not have it, and Cuba takes the lead here in set number 4.
Excellent play by Cuba. Again, tough serving, put them in that position. Honorato trying to do what's been working for him. It's that off-speed throw, but he's too far under the ball.
Outside. Attacking, fingertips, looking for him, doesn't get it, and immediately Brazil saying, take another look, please.
No challenge, no challenge.
There's the change up. I think you could hear it as well from the top of the stadium, that touch off the block. And Honorato just swinging for the rafters. He is such a strong player.
Let Garcia take those balls if you can. Masso. What do you think of his transition from middle to opposite?
I think he's handled everything that's been sent his way with so much grace. I mean, for a middle blocker, again, he told me before the match today that he's had some experience in this opposite position, but not at this high of a level, certainly not in a VNL. And to be able to look through the net, see what's going on the other side, it takes a lot of composure, and that's something he's really doing well.
Composure is what Alonso needed. On that serve right now, we're at 6 apiece. Honorato's been a star from the service line for Brazil. Silencing the crowd as hand from the backcourt.
If Cuba can just keep on chipping away, keep their heads and their wits about them, they're certainly on par in terms of skill level against this Brazilian team.
Cuban coffee or Brazilian acai, have your pick. Outside. And down. Beautiful by Lopez. Yes, Cap.
That's a little hit of caffeine for the captain as well, especially off of the arm of Darlan. I'm not worried about those serves in the net. To be completely honest, I think that this is the style of volleyball we saw from Cuba in set 1 and set 2. And yes, they just inched over the line, but it did not work serving soft in the third.
Fair enough. Let's see. Garcia puts this in the hands, and they're able to run the middle. No problem at all to Concepcion.
Ken Garcia at the helm, just absolutely taking care of business in the backcourt.
Right solo.
Big stuff block by Cuba. Tondike throwing those arms open. Cuba's looking good.
Atenção, é o seguinte, valeu, bora. Bora no meio do negócio Flávio, no meio do Judson, calma, tá tudo certo. Olha lá, tivemos nossas chances de novo aqui. Bloco simples, o cara abriu aqui, deixa a bola cair um pouco, tá? Aquela porrada, vem no teu colo, tira da rede. Veio porrada, não tem problema. Tira, deixa o que acontecer. Ei, mexendo muito, entra lá, tá mexendo demais, entra e para. Tá bom,
Ei, vai, galera! Vamos lá, vambora!
Looking at the win prediction. We're right with you, everybody. Back and forth we go. Fans still liking Cuba. They were up 2-1, but it feels like momentum is on Brazil's side. A lot of it depends on the serving, I feel like, in the second half of this fourth set.
100%.
Set didn't even look perfect, but it was handled perfectly.
Again, after a timeout, Bernardino's called that just specifically so some of that heat comes off of the serve. Good work to get that back to Judson. That was working absolute money in the third set.
Speaking of heat, here is Darlan. Garcia underneath it. Can you put it away? Get Darlan off of the service line. Not yet. Darlan coming over his shoulder. Tough angle, no blocker. Overloading the left side.
Cuba are putting so much pressure. There's the speed from Darlan, but again, exactly like you mentioned, look at the blockers in the middle, having to jump one-on-one with every other hitter on the other side. That's because those options are there, because Garcia's doing such a good job of handling that first contact.
Cuba leading Brazil 11-8 in this set, up 2-1 in this match. What a dig. Way to sit in it. Free ball. Outside. Huge block by Cuba. Credit that dig by Concepcion.
And that's the moment when there's no libero on court. That's when you expect Brazil to capitalize on that and get a quick and easy point. So middle blocker sitting in the defense, popping it up and getting another play. Then your blockers in the front court with a huge stuff block. This is momentum shifting stuff.
Send back. Darlan ready again. They go to the middle again, trying tenderness. Everybody on their heels.
Yeah, Darlan doesn't love to tip. He doesn't love to take speed off of it, but he has to do it once, and then Judson has to do it as well. So good work to capitalize on Masso reaching forward and then leaving that space open.
Great pass. Allows me to come up the middle. What a rip.
Cuba handling that first contact with absolute precision, whether it's Garcia, and this time it's the captain Lopez, but again, look at the blockers. Fernando reaching, trying to dive in. You've got Honorato on the other side, just not even in the picture.
Send it back, door is closed.
Cuba are on one. I think that point might be going to Brazil from a net touch, but that is a huge play by Cuba.
Let's take a look at the challenge.
Check the ball. Stop. Check the ball.
Oh,
Kiss cam in action.
Yes.
love is in the air for volleyball as well. I think it's Valentine's Day in Brazil. I think it was today or yesterday.
It is Valentine's Day in Brazil.
Yeah, Emily told me that.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, to you too.
Emily Eamon, the third member of our broadcast team. If you joined us late, she will have coach and player interviews after this. She talked to coaches after the second set with Cuba up 2-0, and there were some challenges from Brazil. Have they made the adjustments that coach wanted?
Hard to tell, because I think the difference that we saw in the third set that the Cuban coach wanted was to take a little pressure off of the serve, stop making so many errors. They did make that adjustment, but it didn't work. So I think the important thing for them is to go back to what was working, that pressure in the serve, being aggressive from that first contact, and they're kind of just relying on their own reception to handle the Brazil serve, and their own blockers to handle the attackers that are coming from Brazil. And again, Brazil love to swing. They're swinging into the bottom of a Cuban block a couple times in a row now. The changes for Brazil have to be go back to smart play. If the ball is there and not there to be swung at, rolls, tips, off speed. So here's the look for a net touch. I don't see it.
I don't see it on the foot either. I think that's probably what they were looking at, but
Look.
well, challenge was
We
successful.
try to find the best angle, the best view, and all the best to present potential mistake or not. So we have to all have a patience in order to find correct result.
So perhaps, so I think Cuba's getting this point. So maybe the challenge was that there was a touch. Unsuccessful, there was no touch. Cuba keeps the point.
13 serving 9. Ball's up. Can't be taken up. A great side out by Adriano Cachopa.
Crucial time for Brazil to get something going there. 4-point lead. If it had stretched to 5, that becomes the territory of where it's really tough to come back from. So Brazil got to focus in on getting a string of points here.
Through the middle. Point's good.
I cannot overstate how good Garcia has been recently. Look at that. Tondique does not have to move, and these are not easy serves coming from Brazil. It feels like Brazil's given their all from the end line.
Back, Darlan. Woo, head hunting at Garcia.
He's just going to make sure that all the brain cells are still intact, because that is a really tough swing coming at you. Darlan, 117 kilometers an hour straight off the shoulder.
And then let that momentum go. 4-point lead for Cuba. Can they keep the energy? Take down Brazil in Brazil. It's something that you mentioned it earlier. Playing Brazil in Brazil is on everybody's bucket list. Beating Brazil in Brazil is the dream. Wow.
Flavio has a little something to say about it. It seems like the teeth are coming out on Brazil's side. Some of these swings seem personal. Flavio turning it down the opposite way. Tondique just in the seam in the right spot, but there's so much power there.
Can Brazil put 2 together? Nice aggressive serve. Oh, that's just beautiful. The no look by Concepcion of Cuba.
That is so dirty, Concepcion. Wow, that's got to be highlight reel material. Get him in the NBA.
Followed by a healthy serve. And a big time swing to defend his teammates. Adriano.
Brazil's gonna keep going full power. That is their bread and butter. They love to get a big swing going. Mike sitting under it, but again, Fernando having to make a lot of movements, and you're seeing the difference there, and that's movement across the net, whereas Cuba aren't really having to move so much.
Haven't seen Bergman in a while. Oh, an ace coming off the bench, Code.
That ball looked as if it was wide. It looked like it was coming up way too high. All the players on Cuba's side just watching it. perfection by Lucas.
Él gritó Sai porque era su percepción, pero no se veía afuera. Vamos a caerle, vamos a caerle, vamos a caerle, vamos a caerle.
A couple of points put together. Goes from 16-12 to 16-14. Bergman off the bench, had an ace, now a timeout. Has to be power. Can it also be precision? Bergman again did his job as a serving sub.
Yeah, Brazil needed a little injection there. And again, they can definitely come back. It's still early enough on in this set that they have a little bit of a runway. They can still chip away at this lead, but if you're Cuba, you just focus on keeping yourself composed.
Middle. Can't be any cleaner than that to Judson.
Brazil, when they get that middle going, again, Fernando not having to move much there. Judson's finding a lot of space between the blockers.
Kashopa, Judson, Mikey, and Honorato all play for the same club in Poland. Errant buzzer went off, and so it will be a replay.
No, 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 no.
So as I was saying, the composure of this team, I mean, Honorato, Judson, Mikey, and Kashopa in Poland all playing for the same club as Chiehi. Makes them have wonderful chemistry coming back together for the national team. Darlan. It's good. Darlan off the block and out. Point Brazil.
Brazil in Brazil. This is why they're one of the hardest teams to beat. If you're Cuba right now, you're battling not only the players on the court, but also the crowd.
16, serving 17. Darlan. Brought back, tight ball, punched over, a net violation against Brazil. Lets all the air out of the arena.
Look at Darlan, he's furious. He was feeling it from that backcourt, from the serve. Cuba lit off the hook there.
Furious is exactly the right word, and they took Darlan out at the moment. Ayosh in. He was set. Great pass, has to chase it down. What can they run? Doesn't matter, they blocked it instead.
Yeah, big movement, big moment for Brazil, because that looked like Cuba had the advantage there. Ball going out to Jan, and he's looking towards his teammate Concepcion in the backcourt, saying, "You got me? You got this cover?" No cover on that.
Up till then, Brazil had only 3 total blocks. Just some tension on the court. Everybody okay?
Yeah, I wonder if this is a technique to slow down the momentum of Brazil, because they've caught back up. It was a 4-point lead, have 1 point. Slim hustle there as the players going almost into the stands.
Now it's been a 5-2 Brazil run. Good pickup. Triple block, it's underneath. Is anybody still there? Back through the block. Point Brazil, we are locked up at 18.
Brazil are having their way at the moment. Past a three-person block. Garcia having a scrap in the backcourt. As soon as that came free ball, you knew it was Brazil's point all day long.
18 all, must-win set for Brazil. Service heat with an ace to take the lead.
Two aces in this set already. Brazil are not taking their feet off the gas.
This has been a 7-2 run by Brazil. Their first lead since the score was 4-3 early in this set. Garcia on the money with the pass. Dig by Mikey. Outside. No good. Wait. Not so fast. There was a touch on the block. Point to Cuba.
That felt like a must-win point for Cuba. Get another look at it here, just off the fingertips of Judson. But if Cuba had gone down 2 points, you just feel like this set was getting away from them.
Brazilian fans are hungry and it's dinner time. Off the block and out. Brazil using Cuba's strength against them.
The body language starting to suffer on Cuba's side as well. Remember, they played late into the night last night. Fatigue could be setting in, but you gotta keep yourself sharp, especially in those blocks, to turn those hands back in.
Cuba, a 4-set loss to Slovenia late last night. Solid pass. Poked in and on the line. And Brazil goes up by 2.
A 4-point advantage for Cuba, absolutely erased and turned into a 2-point lead for Brazil. And you can see it on the faces of the Cuban side. This is gonna be a tough comeback.
Cuba led 16-12. And it has been a 10-3 Brazilian run. They own the gym.
We talked about Cuba losing a little bit of steam towards the end of that Slovenia match, and this is what we were seeing. People standing straight-legged, not expecting that ball to come back, just kind of leaving their hitters hanging.
Passes to the net. From the right side, once again off the block and out. Brazil is in control.
Brazil running a solid offense. Flavia holding the middle. It's one-on-one. Masso, former middle blocker, knows blocking better than anyone on that Cuban side. Just used.
To the backcourt. Off the hands and out. Cuba can take a breath. Fans will do their part. first swing. Point, Brazil.
It's interesting because in that last set, we were talking about Darlan a lot, but he actually only had 2 points in that fourth set, which is wild because he's bringing so much energy, but it's really a well-balanced offense on Brazil's side.
Pull something off of it. Cuba has to convert on these balls, and they don't. Darlan tries a little tenderness, something different. It's still up. Outside, right back in your face.
That's a huge block at the right time. This, however, is what changed the game there. 2 bodies on the floor. That ball coming up when you thought it was dead. That is huge momentum for Brazil.
Ace serve.
Big time serve by Adriano.
I always look at this because it looks like Cuba rushes their timeout there. Right?
Yeah.
Brazil's still in their huddle.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like that timeout was specifically called for Brazil's momentum to be slowed down. Look at the change up in the prediction there. Everyone who's watching at home seeing the same thing. Momentum has shifted massively to Brazil's side.
So that timeout was enough. Adriano behind the service line, 3-0 lead in the fifth. Garcia dimes the pass. Point Cuba.
That was huge. They had to get themselves out of this run of points. So I like using the middle there, a high, deep swing into the corner. Look how far inside all the defenders are. They're expecting that hard-driven ball short. Change it up on them.
Errant buzzer went off in the middle of the play. Unfortunate.
That's the second time that's happened in this match. Got to call it both ways, though. It's got to be a replay for Cuba as well. Brazil got
I was focused as
the advantage of that last time.
Control this. Try to
I'm not sure
understand.
what Cachopa is.
The only one solution is this.
Yeah.
Just wants to air a grievance, perhaps. Lots of pressure. We will replay that point, 1 serving 3. It's tough on Concepcion. He's got to get this ball in. And he does. Ripper of a serve. Turn, one blocker lost in the air, the other did not. Darlan off the block and down, point Cuba.
I don't know what went on in that rally, but it looked as if Cuba had stopped playing a standing roll shot from the back of the court. And then somehow the blockers are in a good position and finish off with a block. But Cuba's got to pick up their attitude. They got to think they can win. It feels like Cuba's still living in the fourth set when they were up 4 points. It feels like they're furious that they lost that and they're just not willing to work to get it back.
Judson. Back again, there's fire from their captain, Lopez. Excuse me, that was Masso.
Masso, again, one of those steadying forces, finding the seam, doesn't do too much celebration afterwards.
It's a business trip.
Yeah.
Turning the other way, we haven't seen crossbody, but there it is from Flavio.
Flavio's got it all. He has so many tools in his kit. And again, the experience he has playing in Italy this season, he's hitting that. He's tagging that sideline all day long.
What a slice. Choba's serve. Garcia sits it beautifully. Masso from the right, Masso from the left, Masso all day long.
Yeah, that's a name you're going to get used to seeing if you're going to be watching this VNL this summer. Such a high swing, and Heike, who's one of the better receivers and defenders in the world, even can't handle it.
Ball out. Will that be enough to get Cuba moving again? Like, you could feel the drain there, the stress from Cuba that they were not playing with earlier. Fiel in the middle. Pass is perfect outside to Darlan. Reach over and close that block.
Monster block from Brazil. Their block has been stepping up points by points. And again, that ball inside. Lopez with nowhere to go.
Outside, recycle. Ball off the block and out. Great eye by Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia's been one of those steadying forces as well, not only in the reception, but in moments like that to recognize the ball's out. Just a split-second decision.
Spiel serving. Oh, boy. First serve of the match coming at this point. For him, Brazil has Flavio behind the service line. Garcia perfect. It's still good. Masso's still back there. Beto to Concepcion in the middle. Locked at sevens.
That's much better out of Cuba. They didn't earn it on the first one. They had to recycle and go again. I think they have to learn a bit more patience. In the last couple of points, we've seen Cuba just swing away at a big block. Recycle, go again. Just realize that you're playing Brazil and you're not going to get it easy.
Can run all options. High hands, big pickup, no good. Cuba with the lead.
That's better composure out of Lopez. He's got a high, wide ball. He can hang in the air. You can see that in slow motion, how he's just up, he waits, he looks, and then he swings. That's what we want to see more out of Cuba's side.
Timeout, Brazil.
Ele veio acompanhando aqui, tocando a bola, os dois estavam. Ele mandou também, fechou. Boa pra caralho, tá? Ele comprar um, tava abrindo o braço. Ei, passa. Bora, lucidez. Olha aqui.
Honorato on the floor getting some attention. That is a wild win prediction, and we feel the same way.
That looks like bones of a fish.
Yes.
Fish bones, isn't it?
It does. Honorato back on the floor after getting some attention to his muscles.
And that'd be a blow for Brazil if they lose Honorato. Since he's come in, he's been a phenomenal addition. He's got 12 points already, but defensively playing and just adding a whole lot of energy as well to this side.
8 serving 7, fifth set action. Outside, pound, what a dig by Garcia. Can they capitalize upon it? Yes, they can. Lopez puts it away.
Huge play for Cuba. Again, Garcia just sitting in the pocket, and that is powerful from Adriano. So be able to convert that into a point. You felt as though Lopez was not going to let that go. Darlan trying to pull the hands away. He was expecting a high-driven ball. Opportunity taken.
2-point lead for Cuba. Gutsy serve. Darlan doing the work.
We've seen this Brazilian side come back from more. Concepcion apologizing to his team because that could have been an inside hand. He could have just thrown that over and taken away the angle.
Chizoba in for Brazil. Darlan serving. Took it with his hands. Here we go again. Masso!
Cuba's setter, Tondike, look at this. That ball would have been done and dusted by a lesser setter. Wouldn't have been able to get there. He's basically on the ref stand as he's setting that.
Taking it with his hands, even though it went 50 feet in the air, spinning.
That is confidence right there.
A breath for Brazil. It'll be 9-10 in their service. Adriano, he has had a service run before. Right now, 9 serving 10. Pass is perfect. Out through the middle, and it's Concepcion. Cuba retains the lead.
And that's a missed opportunity. Adriano with 2 aces already in this match. That is someone they've been relying on to get a couple of free, well, maybe not free, but well-earned cheeky points at the right time. But good work by Cuba to get off that rotation.
Double substitution coming in. Fiel and Gomez gives them a massive block. Fiel stands at 2 meters 5.
Three serves already missed by Cuba in this set alone. You're going to 15 points, but again, live or die by that sort of tough serving. That's the only way they can beat Brazil.
Judson's serve is aggressive. Masso is blocked. Honorado gets all of it.
Masso has been so successful all set long. So Honorado with basically a one-on-one. I think Masso was getting a little too eager there to take it.
$11-all. Judson serve. Well passed. Overload to the left side. Is it up? It is. Cuba picking everything up. Can they put it away though? Yes, they can. That is Yent.
Huge by Yant. He's been one of the top scorers so far, 21 points already. That is how you play volleyball against Brazil. Do not let them score. And again, this fight, where has this come from? Cuba, just in the last set, looked like they were done. They were ready to go home.
For me, the libero from Cuba is the player of the match. Garcia, quietly picking everything up, receiving serves, putting it there. That ball is down on anybody else.
Yeah. Brazil have missed 0 serves in this set, in this 5th set. And Cuba 4.
Darlan re-enters. Pass from Garcia again on the money. Just finished by Yant.
Calm, composed Garcia being forced to do so much work, but Yant OT the block. And again, they look so calm after they're winning these points.
From the backcourt, big dig, it's chased down. Garcia goes all the way, acrobatic. They have 5 players on the floor. Wow, huge block.
Garcia letting nothing go. Hustle play for the Cuban libero. Doesn't pay off, but that's the way. That's the pressure you got to keep putting on this Brazil side.
Tranquilidad, nosotros somos los que tenemos el K1, es hacer el K1 este a toda costa, hay que hacerlo a toda costa y llegar al 14 primero. Complicaciones para arriba la pelota, hacemos un pase alto y claro y a pegarle contra la palma de la mano el bloqueo. Es simple, lo más simple posible, un K1. Lo más simple, lo más simple.
Maracanazinho was built in 1950, 75 years ago. I don't know that it can withstand this crowd's energy. We are 13-all as Brazil tries to pull off a reverse sweep over Cuba. Honorato serve. It's down, chasing. To the block and down, and it is match point Cuba.
Huge moment for Cuba, and you just feel Adriano maybe could have just rolled that, tipped it, let his team recycle. He was eager to get a big swing there. Ronaldinho having to call the challenge because he's got to find a way.
Just going to try to slow the roll. Could it be the second reverse sweep handed by Brazil to Cuba in 3 years? Last time was at the World Championship.
Okay, show, let's go.
There's a lot riding on this challenge. From where we were sitting, that was Cuba's point, but if it flips to Brazil,
let's go.
They then end up with match point.
Looking for a net fault. Anyone?
I don't see it.
Unsuccessful challenge.
What that does do, though, is slow down the momentum. Cuba were feeling it. They were in the zone. Now they have to take a little bit of heat off of this serve, potentially. It's now or never for Brazil.
It's the 2016 Olympian. Melga in to serve for the match. Melga delivers a great serve. Darlan swinging for the match. Oh, they do it! Cuba outlasts Brazil in 5 for the win. Brazil, of course, going to request a challenge.
Chilling.
I just got to pick my jaw up off the floor. If this point stays with Cuba.
Challenge.
There is no challenge 20 seconds. Double touch.
Match is over and the fans are stunned.